Hey guys, it's Chris again. Back here in the basement, and I have a new PSE 2017 Evolve 31, and I have a couple of Carbonair 34s hanging behind me. I've been shooting those boats for a few weeks, but I asked my buddy David Alligood over at PSE, the regional sales rep, to send me one of these Evolve 31s, and he dropped it by the house today. I know a lot of guys will probably hunt with this bow. It is the lower cost version of the ECS cam compared to the carbon bows, and this will probably be what a lot of guys hunt with just due to the size and the speed, because this is the fastest bow with the ECS cam for 2017. And I said, hey, bring me one of those bows and I'll do a review on it. I'll shoot it and look at it and see what I think about it compared to the carbon bows, which I've done a review already. So I was excited to get this, and I shot this bow a few months ago when David came by my work and said, hey, try this bow out and see what you think, and I loved it. And I tell you what, I'm going to go over the features of this bow, but this is a dynamite bow for the package, and especially for the money. So let's go with the new Evolve 31 for 2017 and the new Evolve cam system, the binary quad track system that PSE came out with. So let's start from the top. Alright, some of the specs on this bow. This bow has a 31.25 inch axle to axle, so it's a very, very small bow. It would be great out of a tree stand, great out of a ground blind. But one of the things about this bow, and even though it's small, is it still has a pretty generous brace height. This bow is just a little bit over 6.25 inch brace height. It's not quite 6.5, maybe 6 3/8, somewhere in that area. So it's got a pretty generous brace height. So I don't know if you can see this. So it's not really a speed bow brace height, which is some bows from some other manufacturers that advertise a 6 inch brace height are really closer to 5 3/4, somewhere they kind of cheat a little bit to get some extra speed. This bow does not do that. It's a little over 6.5, 6.25, about 6 3/8 or so. So it's a very generous brace height. Unlike the carbon bows that have the air glide system off of the riser, this bow has an angled cable guard with a roller, and it does not have a lot of friction. It kind of curves in. Hopefully you can see this here. It curves in towards the string, and that reduces riser torque. When you draw it back, the riser typically rotates this way. So anytime you can take load off of these cables, that's a good thing, and PSE did that with this new cable guard. It's very, very smooth. You don't even feel it during the draw cycle. This is a 60-pound bow. The one Carbonairs that I've been reviewing are 70 pounds. I'll tell you, this bow on 60 pounds feels like you're drawing 50. It is that smooth. And this bow maxed out. I didn't twist the cables up because this was David's sample bow to take around to his dealers. This bow is at 57.8 pounds, so a little over 57.5. And I didn't mess with it because at 57.5 is really, really smooth. So this is a very nice bow, and you'll see during the draw cycle, if you're used to shooting 65, 70 pounds and you wanted to drop down, this is a dream because it just draws back and there's no dump at all. I've gone over that with the Carbonairs. This is the smoothest cam I have ever shot, and it is really, really sweet. And I get to shoot a lot of bows, luckily, because I do some tuning, and I've shot a lot of elites and a lot of obsessions, and I've been shooting Hoyts obviously for a decade if you follow me on YouTube and Archery Talk, and I've been shooting them for a long time. This is the smoothest cam I have ever shot, and with the let off that it produces at 90%, and my bows are at 85, but this one's at 90, so the let off that they produce, and there's very little dump, they are phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because David's a friend of mine, and David, you are a good friend. So thank you for letting me see these bows. Go shoot these because I promise they will sell themselves, and the draw cycle is second to none that I've ever shot. So again, a couple of the features of this bow. This is the quad track binary cam, and really this is a floating yoke. Hopefully this is zooming in and you can see this. You shim this bow by these little spacers here, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's not hard to figure it out, but it does take a little trial and error. This bow, it does need some shimming for what I was doing with it. I did find an error that it shot perfect with it, but this top cam needs a little bit of movement. The bottom cam needs to go the other way. The top cam needs to come the opposite way. and I could probably do it in about 10 minutes and be done with it. But still found an arrow that shot bullet holes with it, so I'm going to shoot through the paper in a little bit. To go over this riser a little more, there's multiple sighting holes here. If you want to mount your sight high or low, depending on where your peep sight height is. Shoot a high peep, you'll probably have a high anchor. Shoot a low peep, you'll have a lower anchor. And people ask me all the time, how can I get more yardage out of my sight? And it really depends a lot on your peep height, and that's a different subject, but I just thought I'd throw that in. So anyway, we got the new ECS cam, the quad track system. Someone took the dampers off of this bow, which I still didn't really notice. It doesn't have a lot of vibration, but I could feel it. I could feel the limbs resonating a little bit, so that won't be on your bow, even though they're not on here. There is just a whisker biscuit on here. It's still tuned fine. If you want to shoot a whisker biscuit, I recommend a drop away. That would be the best thing. These shock rods, Hoyt kind of made these popular a couple of years ago. They just come in and out of the riser. They may take dampening out, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. This bow does have the wedge lock cam limb system, so when you put your limbs in, you tighten this little wedge lock down. It seats the limbs against the limb pocket to make it really firm, and there's not a lot of deviation in these limbs. That's a cool feature that they stole from Target bows. And that's really it. So I'm going to shoot this bow a few times. I don't want the video to get too long. Again, this is a 31 inch, a little over that, axle to axle bow, 6 1/4 inch brace height. I IBO'd it a minute ago. I did shoot through my chronograph, and I shot a 350 grain arrow, dead on 350 grains. This bow is on 57 pounds. It's a 28 inch draw, and it shot 200 and, hope I'm getting this right, 295 feet per second. And that IBO is right at about 342 feet per second, which is about everything that I've read with these bows, with these America's Best bowstrings, which come from the factory. So this is a fast bow for the size. Typically a shorter bow is faster than a longer bow, just due to the stored energy in the limbs. It typically is more efficient. I didn't shoot it with a heavier arrow, but a lighter arrow was right about 342 IBO, which is fast for this draw cycle. I'm telling you, for a speed bow typically is about 350. 8 feet per second to get this draw cycle is a no-brainer. So go shoot this bow if you haven't, and if you really want butter smooth, shoot one of the Carbon Air 34s, or maybe shoot the Evolve 35, the longer axle also bow. It is really butter. Not that this one's not. So this video is probably getting long. I don't like doing that. So I'm going to shoot some shots through paper here and let you guys see what this bow does. Here. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Sorry about that. That's about where I like to stand. I'll move it up. Always like to shoot my bare shafts at about 5 feet to start with, and then I'll move back to 10 feet, 15 feet, and so forth. So hopefully I make a good shot with this and see what this bow does. I did not do any cam shimming on this bow. I made one slight rest adjustment to get the center shot right, and that was it. It's about as good as it gets. Might even be better than my bows. You can see there, pretty good bullet hole. Let's try it again. Can't have a fluke on YouTube. I'll tell you what impresses me the most about these bows, sorry about that, is definitely the draw cycle, because for the speeds they produce, this draw cycle is unbelievable. And the let off is crazy for it to not to have any dump in the valley. I mean, I could really get used to shooting 57 pounds after drawing this bow. Hey, if I can do it, you can do it. All right, so that's a wrap for the 2017 PSE Evolve 31. Go check it out. I'd love to have the Evolve 35. I think that that would be the ultimate 3D and hunting bow. This bow would be a great tree stand bow, great out of the ground blinds because it's so small. But 35, again, I think would suit me and my draw length. This bow is a little cramped for me at a 28. I shoot a 28.75, but I still, that's 3/4 of an inch shorter than what I do, and still shot great bullet holes. So I'm happy with it. So overall, I'm impressed. I love these new ECS cams. PSE hit a home run. Go check them out. Thanks.